Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you know the absolute struggle of trying to balance a killer GPA with a great physique, you are probably exhausted. You're living that overwhelmed, sleep-deprived student-athlete lifestyle, right? Well, today we're diving into the student and athlete balance system. The source material we're looking at today completely flips the script on this balancing act. We're moving way off that raw, endless grind and steering straight into high-leverage efficiency. Let's get into it.
First up, the burnout trap.
Okay, let's dive into this. To actually fix this, we've got to look at the toxic all-or-nothing grind culture that traps so many ambitious students. Like, why do ambitious student-athletes always burn out? It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? You've got all the motivation in the world, and then bam, you hit a total wall. According to the text, the core issue is that busy students treat their academics and their fitness as these all-or-nothing end goals. We somehow convince ourselves that if we aren't going 100% all out in both areas every single day, we're failing. But honestly, that mindset is actively sabotaging your body and your brain's ability to perform. And this brilliantly illustrates the trap. Standard grind culture advice tells you to lock yourself in your room, study for 4 to 5 hours straight, hit the gym for another 2 hours, and do the whole shebang 6 days a week. But what's the actual reality here? The data shows this approach literally just leads to a totally drained battery, terrible sleep, and, ironically, declining grades. It's a completely counterproductive cycle. You put in way more hours, but you get worse results. So how do we fix it?
That brings us to Pillar 1, Smart Study.
This is the very first step to clawing back your free time without sacrificing a single letter grade. The source notes that those marathon study sessions, they fail because physical fatigue sets in way before you even realize it. Your brain literally just stops absorbing stuff. So the fix is breaking your work down into highly efficient 45-minute focus blocks. Step 1, zero phone distractions. Just completely remove the temptation. Step 2, set a timer for exactly 45 minutes of laser focus. And step 3 is using a really specific technique during that time called active recall. Active recall means retrieving information from memory to enhance cognitive retention. Basically, you aren't just passively rereading your textbook or highlighting notes like a zombie, hoping the facts magically stick. You are actively testing yourself. You're forcing your brain to pull the answer out of your memory. This is the absolutely critical mechanism that makes those short 45-minute bursts actually work. It's highly demanding, which is exactly why you can only do it for 45 minutes, but man, it is incredibly efficient. Now, time blocking isn't just a strategy for your textbooks. It totally applies to your fitness too. To make this whole system work, you've got to schedule your gym sessions as non-negotiable fixed appointments. Treat it just like a chemistry lab or a final exam. Lock it into your calendar for 6:30 a.m. before class or right after school. By locking it in, you completely remove the mental friction and decision fatigue of waking up and wondering, when should I go to the gym today? The decision is already made for you.
Moving right along to Pillar 2. Efficient training.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the clear contrast in training frequency. We're looking at an unstructured 6-day routine versus a structured 4-day split. The source material reveals that the 4-day split is actually way more sustainable and it yields far better results for students. When you're in the gym 6 days a week without a tight plan, you're really just accumulating junk volume and burning out your central nervous system. 4 structured days give you the exact intensity you need while actually giving you the time to be, a regular student.
So, what are you doing on those 4 days? You are focusing entirely on key compound movements. We're talking squats, bench press, and deadlifts or rows. The science is super clear here. Muscle growth comes from progressive overload, meaning gradually lifting heavier weights over time, not from the total time you spend wandering around the water cooler. By focusing on these heavy, multi-joint movements, you stimulate maximum muscle growth. It allows you to get in, do the heavy work, and get out in just 45 to 60 minutes.
And that leads us into Pillar 3, simple recovery. Taking a look at this 24-hour breakdown, you'll see that massive 7 to 8 hour slice. That's your sleep. The text highlights this as your absolute highest leverage tool. It is not a luxury, guys. It is a non-negotiable requirement. According to the data, a full 7 to 8 hours is mandatory for cognitive retention, which means locking in everything you learned during those 45-minute study blocks, and for muscle repair from those heavy compound lifts. If you skip this, you literally undermine everything we just talked about in Pillars 1 and 2. Recovery also means fueling your body without burning out your brain. Your nutrition has got to be simple to avoid decision fatigue. We're looking for low-friction, high-protein meals with minimal prep time. The source highlights reliable staples like oats, eggs, and chicken rice bowls. You don't need to be a gourmet chef cooking elaborate meals that take 2 hours, and you definitely don't need to be that stereotypical gym bro analyzing every single grain of rice in a Tupperware container. You just need reliable, highly nutritious fuel that you can prep on autopilot, saving all that mental energy for your big goals. Which brings us to the overarching philosophy behind all of this. Consistency beats intensity. So the crucial point is this 80% rule. This is really the philosophical climax of the whole system. A realistic 80% effort maintained steadily for an entire school semester absolutely crushes a 100% all-out effort that ends in a 2-week burnout. You don't need to be perfect every single day. You just need to be consistently good enough. That 80% threshold leaves room for the realities of being a student, like tough exam weeks or unexpected life stuff, while still moving you inevitably towards your goals. To summarize the ultimate takeaway directly from the text, consistency beats intensity. Efficiency and sustainable habits will always yield superior academic and physical results. When you time block your focused study sessions, prioritize those compound lifts in a 4-day split, and passionately protect your sleep while simplifying your meals, you build an unstoppable, sustainable routine. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative question from the source material to think about. How will you structure your 80% day tomorrow? Take a look at your calendar right now. It might just be time to ditch the toxic grind culture, stop trying to do 100% tomorrow, and start implementing this time-saving system instead. Block out your 45-minute study sessions, lock in that gym appointment, and plan for 8 hours of sleep. You've got the blueprint, now it's time to test it out. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.